Ladies and gentlemen, debate is not debate if it's not on Kenya's #1 interactive debate platform that gives high school students an opportunity to air out their ideologies. What better way to do it than to debate on the Great Debaters Contest? I am your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. And today the motion surrounds the battle against terrorism in our countries, and it states governments should consider negotiating with terrorists for national security.
Proposing matters terrorism, we have St. Teresa'S Girls High School.
And opposing this motion, we have Ayiecho Nyatao Secondary School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
Umoja ndio nafsi yetu. That's unity. Pasiwe hata moja anayetenganishwa. And that's togetherness. Kenyans, are we human beings or a replication of human beings? Dora Mabini from St. Teresa'S Girls, ready to propose the motion that states that the government should consider negotiating with terrorists for national security. What is the government? The government is a group of people who are responsible for controlling a state or a country. The government is consisted of 3 arms: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now that's our government. And what do I say when I say should? Should is used to show what is right and appropriate, especially when criticizing somebody's action. Negotiating. To negotiate is simply to try to reach into an agreement by formal discussion. And a terrorist is you, and you. A terrorist is an individual who engages in violent actions for political aims. An individual is simply a person, a human being just like you and me. You can actually come up one day and become a terrorist. I'm not saying that's your opinion, right? And what is national security? National security is simply the defense of a country. National security is protecting our country from internal and external attacks. And we have organs in our government who are involved in national security. And that includes the National Police Service, the National Intelligence Service, and the Kenya Defense Force. Brave men and women who risk their life day and night trying to protect us from terrorists, trying to ensure that the security in our country, that the relevant peace in our country is maintained. The government should consider negotiating with terrorists. I'll tell you why. Look at the numbers look at the number of people that have been killed due to terrorists. Look at the increasing number that's still going to increase because of terrorists. I'll give an example. On 21st September 2013, the Westgate Mall attacks. 67 people were killed. Innocent people were killed, right? Say 175 were wounded. And in the 1998, August 7th, the U.S. bombing of the U.S. Embassy. So I would like to leave you with a parting shot. Aman Atzman once said that the greatest room in the world is the room of change. So let's support terrorists. So let's support negotiating with terrorists. Thank you.
First proposer, you have 3 minutes to present your case.
Well. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are sitting, I believe all of you are human beings. And therefore, because we are human beings, we have human feelings. I want to take this example. Today, you go back home, you find all your parents and your brothers and sisters have been murdered. What will you feel? Okay, my name is Onyango Kennedy from Ayiecho Nyatao Secondary School, strongly opposing the motion that states that government should consider negotiating with the terrorists for national security I strongly oppose this motion just because of one reason. As I begin, let us understand the motion, the terms, so that we come up with a valid conclusion. First, when we talk about negotiation, negotiation simply refers to a process of achieving an agreement through a formal discussion. But what do we mean by a terrorist? A terrorist, this refers to a group of people or persons that use violent actions to further political goals. First, what is national security? National security is well spelled out in the new Constitution 2010 in Article 238, Sub-Article 1, which states that it is the protection against internal and external threats to Kenyan territorial integrity, sovereignty, and their people, rights, freedoms, property, stability, and national interest. So, why do we propose such like a motion? Proposing such like a motion simply means that we have killed the past of others and we are busy killing their future. Then why must we do so? Let us take an example. On 21st September 2013, 67 Kenyans, that is innocent, were murdered at Westgate Mall. Again, at Garissa, 100 people killed. That one is on 2nd April 2015. So, why do we oppose this motion? Proposing this motion simply means that we are giving up to these terrorists to interfere with the innocent people, that is the innocent citizens of our country. First, do you know even who Al-Shabaab is that you want to negotiate with? We don't know these people, we don't know their intention. So let us take for an example, we accept that we are negotiating with them. So they come to our country, we sit down. Do we know what they are going to say? Do we know the outcome of the negotiation? What if they refuse that? They will not accept stopping terrorizing our country. That simply means they will have studied our intention and they have realized that we are weak in terms of power, and that will in turn make them continue attacking our country, hence hindering what? Security into our country. So we need to put this one into keen consideration when we are discussing this motion. Secondly, accepting to negotiate with the terrorists simply means that we are promoting international terrorism, since these groups of terrorists are connected. The Al-Qaeda, the Al-Shabaabs, and the Boko Haram of Nigeria, these are connected. So it means we are promoting international terrorism. And therefore, I strongly oppose the motion, and I would like to urge you that let us oppose this motion if we really care for the lives of citizens of this country. Thank you very much.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
I think we're the one proposing the motion and they're opposing. They did say that, well, we agree on negotiating, that we are increasing the number of terrorists. Guys, negotiation. This means that we're not using this just a negotiation. No, we are using tactical negotiation, whereby when we negotiate with these people, we get to stop the circle of violence in the country. You find your parents have been murdered. Well, let's say if we did not negotiate, that was the cause why they find his parents murdered. But if we negotiated, the parents can be alive. That's a mere de facto. What do I mean? It's an existence of a fact, although it is not legally accepted as a fact. The government is not a fool for taking the mistakes, and for they want to correct the mistakes of the terrorists. I do believe our government is correct, because as the saying goes, do not correct the correct corrections corrected by the correct correctors, because the correct corrections corrected by the correct correctors are always correct. We will rather have a peaceful nation knowing that my next tomorrow is a good one, rather than sleeping in fear of what might happen tomorrow. Laura Chieng from St. Teresa'S. And to my first point, it reduces the new costs that are incurred that must be taken into account. Tourist advisories. I do believe that tourism is one of the major backbones of our country. Now, let's say if tourists don't come to our country, do you think our country will still be up somewhere? No. The revenue of our country will be lowered. That's a fact. Fear affecting middle economies. Yeah, they are the common workers, like let's say the mamambogas. They strive to make their daily living whereby they get into businesses, but let's say work somewhere. There has been attacked. Do you think that the next morning I will carry my goods going there because I want to earn my living and I know that for a fact that I'm going to be killed? No. Negotiation is a tool and we must implement that. It's a great way to gather intelligence unavailable. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
First and foremost, there are two things to remember. Don't make decisions when you are hungry. And also, don't make promises when you are happy. In front of you is Owor Enoch Otieno from Ayiecho Nyatao Mixed Secondary School. The elite is standing to oppose the motion. We state very well that the government should negotiate with the terrorists to ensure national security. First of all, our fellows, you are very good. You have tried your best, and you are trying to talk about you are trying to define what terrorism is, and you only based it on what we call political aims. But no, let us now look in the instance of 40 brothers in Nairobi. Are they based in political arena only? No. These people attack for different reasons. Like the 40 brothers, it was recorded that they are taking millions from people. So they have nothing related to the politics. I think that point is good. And also the increase in the number of other militia groups. That one you have said, you're asking us, how will this one further or increase? Okay, let us take this instance. This one will promote national insecurity activities in Kenya. How and why? Look, for instance, if you sit down in a room with an Al-Shabaab, for instance, you talk to them. In a negotiation, there are terms and perks which each and every person has to admit, and you have to accept for that thing to be called a negotiation. Well, they might require us even to withdraw our soldiers from Somalia. They might even demand some amounts of money so that they can satisfy their endless needs. Okay, how will others also, like the Boko Haram, they will have to start applying the same procedure of attacking the nations so that their needs are also catered for. And this one will promote the actions of those militia groups. Okay. You want to say that, okay, you want to go, okay, it's good. You want to go and sit down and negotiate with them. Who is that one in this our country? Do you have the clear image of Al-Shabaab in your brain? Me, personally, I'm shocked to be discussing this motion because I had to bury my brother without a head who was bombed. And here, you want to say that I sit and negotiate with the person. I say, no. Okay, very good. Nobody understands this Al-Shabaab well. Otherwise, anytime they attack, they are in mask. And here, you want to sit down and negotiate with them. Who knows the possible outcomes? What then if they have the suicide bomber inside the negotiation house? We might even end up losing our own president. No, please, before you decide, before you make a decision, before you sit down with somebody, you must understand. And these people provide no time for understanding them. Some of their demands cannot be met. For instance, there is a problem. Let me take you to a certain flight which will only alight in Nigeria. The Boko Haram, they are based that they don't want Western education. So you personally, do you want to say that we accept their requests so that we don't go to school? No, those are things which are not impossible. Those things are impossible. Totally impossible. I rest my case.
The proposers have been asked, what happens in the event that the terrorists do not keep their side of the bargain after a negotiation? The opposers have been asked, they stated initially that Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab are connected. Would they give verification for that statement? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
I'll start by answering my fellow friend. He asked, who is an Al-Shabaab? Who is an Al-Shabaab? An Al-Shabaab is a human being like you and I. The same creator who created the Al-Shabaab is the same creator who created you and I. Secondly, before I answer him, he also said that when he finds his parents killed. Now, today you find your parents killed, you won't tell me when you don't negotiate with these terrorists. That means that when you go back tomorrow to your homes, you'll find your aunt killed. The next day, you'll find your brother. The other time, you'll find your sister. Let's negotiate. Seriously? Then you've asked me that, what happens if these people, they do not agree to go as per the rules of the negotiation? Let me tell you something. I love my life because of one thing. I always live in a positive country. I always live my life positively. We believe that when you negotiate with these people, it will go down into their heads that these people have a reason why they want us to negotiate. You know, if we negotiate with them, they'll also be able to realize that these people are suffering. And why are we doing this? You know, sometimes we just focus on the minor instead of on the major. Let's be positive Kenyans. We believe that for these Al-Shabaab to agree to sit on the table with the government, it means that they also have something good. But if they couldn't agree to negotiate with us, that it could be another case. But they've already agreed to negotiate with us. We believe that they'll go hand in hand with what the government will say. And somebody said that, my friend, the opposite side, he said that negotiating, we'll have to pay the terrorists. No, it's tactical negotiation. I want to remind you something. Rachel and Paul Chandler, Great Britain, the government lured pirates to pay them 600,000 euros, which was never paid at the end. So it means that when these terrorists want us to pay them, does it mean it's a must for us to pay them? We just negotiate with them because they're hurting us and they're also getting hurt. Let's be realistic. Kindly, for once, they're human being like us. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give God what belongs to God. These are human beings for God's sake. They also need us. You know, if we don't negotiate with these people, it means we'll torture them. We will also kill them. May the souls of the terrorists rest in peace. So we keep on killing the terrorists because they also hurt us. So we keep on just doing to them bad things because they also do to us bad things. For God's sake, we all want to go in heaven. Kindly, let's have mercy on these terrorists. Please, let's just negotiate with them, and at the end of the day, we'll also be safe. Osiare Dorothy, St. Teresa'S Girls.
Proposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
Thank you very much. From what the previous proposer has just said, that it is not true that if we negotiate with these terrorists, they will not need amount. They will need amount. Do you know that while you are negotiating with someone, it's of course that you must come to an agreement, and be aware that you have to adhere to the demands and requests of someone. So the governments will have to pay these terrorists in order for them to stop this action. Before you is Helen Akoth from Nyatao Secondary School, ready to oppose this motion. First, allow me to answer the questions that my fellow had posted. That I briefly explained the connection between Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab. According to a thesis written by a Kenyan, it truly shows that there is a big connection between the Al-Qaeda and the Al-Shabaab. Not only that one, but also let us take, for instance, the Westgate attack. The major terrorists were the Al-Shabaabs. But again, we find that one of the suicide bomber was an Al-Qaeda. This truly shows that these people are in collaboration. And this one shows that there is a great connection between the Al-Shabaabs and the Al-Qaeda. So, truly, the fellow opposers have said it all. we should not negotiate with these people. Because again, if we negotiate with them, these terrorists will read and understand our weaknesses, hence lowering our national security. As we all know that the Al-Shabaabs, their point of origin is in Somalia. So if we allow the Al-Shabaabs to come into our country, my dear Kenyans, they will be aware of all the secrets of our nation of Kenya. And that is where they will start working from. And since our nation is still a developing country, surely it will not drag behind because we've allowed the Al-Shabaabs to come and take control over our nation of Kenya. So, why then should we negotiate with these people? If even the KDF and the government itself has not yet surrendered that we should not negotiate with these people, then there you citizens, you are seated, being led by this fellow that the country should negotiate. I simply say no. Thank you very much.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
From the Journal of Peace, Conflict and Development. It was issued on 21st March 2015. Christopher Hammond argues that political will is the most important component of an effort against terrorism. However, it is not the will to endure military action to which he is referring, but rather the will to negotiate that leads to the lowest cost solution for a nation. While negotiation does not always lead to satisfactory solution, it may keep costs down or an interest group at bay. There is always room for improvement, and every human being requires that. Thank you.
Opposers, you have 1 minute to make a final submission.
Okay. Again, I'm in front of you. Thank you very much. You want to say that you are now going to sit down. First one, you are not understanding. You are saying that, in fact, both sides are dying. Yes, but how about these people are dying in what they call a jihad war, which means a holy war. There is hope after dying. In fact, that is why they are taking the suicide bombs. So I think we should just meet outside in boots, in guns, and in uniforms to fight these people till the end. Because after all, our population is bigger than them. Okay, I like and appreciate chameleon. Chameleon, I like it because of one thing. You negotiate with a chameleon in a green pasture, but you meet the same chameleon in a dry pasture. It will amaze you. Bye.
The first speaker on the proposer's side, Dora, you stated well, but spent too much time defining terms such that you didn't give your team's position within the time limit that you've been given. So you didn't use your time well, okay? Then, KDD, you gave those a good attempt at the introduction and you stated the team's position. Enoch, you are you're a good speaker, very passionate, we observed that. And you did your cross-examination quite well. I will encourage you to improve on your language. It is evident that you are hampered as far as the language of expression is concerned. So go back, work on your language, and I'm sure your delivery will be fine if we ever meet in this platform again. And Laura, your cross-examination could have been better. You did good to raise the point on tactful negotiations, but then again, you need to follow through with proper supporting examples, which was lacking. So again, we insist, research, research, research. Otherwise, I was encouraged by your performance for both teams.
At this level, research and statistical evidence is paramount. To both teams, you failed to do that. To the proposers, you came up with a brilliant idea. That was Laura and Dorothy, when you talked of tactical negotiation. How I wish you had hinged your deliberations on that, have relevant examples, and use it to push your agenda of what you believed in. It was a brilliant idea, but you didn't do justice to it. Enoch, how are you? You are passionate, you are confident, and your final submission actually made my day. Congratulations. Thank you.
Teresa'S, the judges saw it fit to award you 64%. Let's give them a round of applause. Ayiecho Nyatao. The judges saw it fit to award you 65%. Let's give Ayiecho Nyatao a round of applause. Congratulations to Ayiecho Nyatao for giving us a good debate.
We'd like to appreciate our sponsors, Blaze by Safaricom and Brand Kenya Board, for facilitating this. A huge thank you to all the principals and patrons that prepared and brought the students for the debates. We'd also like to encourage you to implement at least one sustainable development goal in your schools and even the community around you.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember you can also be part of the Great Debaters contest by following the conversation across our social media platforms. The hashtag is GDC for SDGs. Felicitación. Until next time, I have been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. Stay tuned.